Remember when every music video on YouTube had that little Vevo logo in the corner? For a moment, it looked like Vevo was about to take over the music world, maybe even dethrone YouTube itself. But then, almost as quickly as it arrived, Vevo faded into the background. So, what really happened? Before I dive into the wild story of Vevo's rise and fall, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out more than you know, and lets me keep bringing you untold business stories just like this one. Okay, let's begin. The industry in terror. In the late 2000s, the music industry was in a state of terror. The digital revolution, which had promised limitless new horizons, felt more like a slow, agonizing hemorrhage. Napster had already shattered the lucrative CD sales model. iTunes had centralized digital sales, but in doing so, had handed control of music distribution and pricing power to a powerful tech giant, Apple. But the real, gnawing fear for the major labels, Universal Music Group, UMG, Sony Music Entertainment, SME, and EMI, was YouTube. Here was a colossal, free-for-all platform where the music videos, the most valuable and expensive promotional tools the industry possessed, were being viewed not just millions, but billions of times. And yet, this explosive, mind-boggling traffic was generating almost nothing for the artists. They were watching their most valuable assets create explosive traffic, but deliver only meager revenue. They felt, rightly, that they had handed the keys to the kingdom to a Silicon Valley giant, and they were desperate to get them back. They needed a weapon. They needed a plan. They needed to regain control over their own content ecosystem. The declaration of war. The solution they devised was a massive, multi-billion-dollar Hail Mary pass aimed squarely at Google's dominance. They called it Vevo. Vevo wasn't just a video hosting service. It was a declaration of war. It was a defiant business model founded on a singular, uncompromising belief. We control the content, therefore we control the platform. The dream was both simple and audacious: to create a premium, high-value alternative to YouTube, a walled garden where the labels kept the lion's share of the lucrative advertising revenue, and the quality of the content and the context in which it appeared was strictly controlled. Vevo was designed to be the definitive digital home for music videos, the single place where all the world's most famous artists resided. It was meant to be the YouTube killer. The humiliating surrender. And for a short, chaotic time, Vevo actually tried to become that king. But its story is a cautionary tale, a blueprint for corporate failure. It shows what happens when a powerful cartel fundamentally misjudges the digital landscape, confuses control with convenience, and ultimately suffers a humiliating, total surrender to the very competitor it was designed to destroy. So, what happened to the platform that held the keys to Taylor Swift, Beyoncé, and Justin Bieber? Monopoly content. Vevo was launched in 2009, was a joint venture between major record labels, and was widely seen as having an immense advantage due to its exclusive monopoly content. The joint venture, initially between UMG, Sony Music, and EMI, later acquired by UMG, instantly had the rights to the official music videos of virtually every single mainstream artist on the planet. This was not a scrappy, grassroots project powered by a garage startup. It was a military operation backed by the deepest pockets and the most valuable intellectual property in the entire entertainment world. The labels weaponized their content. The contradictory strategy. The strategy Vevo executed was twofold, and in hindsight, utterly contradictory. Launch an independent platform. Vevo created its own sleek, standalone website and mobile app. This was the promised land, the high-margin environment where they hoped to eventually lure all users, control all the advertising sales, and escape Google's gravitational pull. The Faustian Pact. Simultaneously and critically, Vevo entered into a crucial ad revenue sharing agreement with Google. All those official UMG and SME videos that viewers were already instinctively searching for on YouTube were moved to the official Vevo YouTube channel. This deal instantly allowed the labels to claim billions of views and the associated revenue that had previously been slipping away. But this pact came with a massive structural flaw. It made Vevo inextricably linked to its primary rival. This deal was both a stroke of strategic brilliance and a structural trap. As analysis from 4-Week MBA noted, the initial success was immediate. Vevo instantly became a massive destination for official music videos, launching with approximately 30,000 videos and quickly gaining popularity. The high figures, reaching a staggering 25 billion views a month globally. The fatal flaw. The labels got their money, but the audience never, truly, left the platform they were already on. The average viewer did not differentiate between YouTube and Vevo on YouTube. They simply searched for Beyoncé music video on the platform they instinctively used. The experience was seamless. Complacency and ambition. As Vevo's revenue grew, reaching an impressive $650 million in 2017, so did its ambition and, crucially, its complacency. The dream of world domination, as described in analysis from 4-Week MBA, was very real within the executive suites. Vevo executives believed their control over the supply of content was absolute power. They saw the distribution deal with YouTube not as a necessity for survival, but as a shackle holding back their true potential. Plotting the defection. The internal discussion became increasingly simple and aggressive. Why are we sharing our money with YouTube? We should pull our content entirely, force everyone to our superior platform, and keep all the revenue for ourselves. They were confident they could compel an entire global audience to change its deeply ingrained digital behavior simply because they owned the license for a specific video. The problem, as argued by Valve co-founder Gabe Newell in the gaming sphere, is that piracy and digital consumption are fundamentally service issues, not just pricing issues. Vevo's independent service, no matter how premium or controlled, could never compete with the sheer scale, user habit, and inertia of YouTube. The failure to understand the user. Viewers were already comfortable on YouTube. It was the single place where they watched everything: music, comedy sketches, news, tutorials, and short films. YouTube was the universal remote of the internet. Asking millions of users to download a separate, dedicated app just for music videos and potentially pay a separate fee for it was a fundamental misunderstanding of the user experience. The audience valued convenience and consolidation far more than the labels valued control and fragmentation. Vevo had all the power to sell its content to advertisers, but it had zero power to force audience behavior. The two-front war. The moment of truth arrived in 2018. Vevo's aggressive push for true independence, led by then CEO Eric Huggers, was a race against time, and time controlled by Google ran out. The music streamers. The landscape had radically changed. Services like Spotify and Apple Music have redefined how consumers listen to music entirely. While Vevo was still focused on video, the audience was flocking to audio platforms that offered all the music for a flat fee. This fragmentation of the consumer's attention meant Vevo was fighting a punishing two-front war: video distribution, YouTube, and core music consumption, Spotify. Google's counterpunch. In May 2018, Google delivered the killing blow, announcing the launch of YouTube Music, a revamped, dedicated streaming service designed to compete directly with Spotify. This move was a clear, unambiguous signal to Vevo. The new YouTube Music leveraged all the high-quality Vevo content that was already living on the site, placing existential pressure on the joint venture. The total surrender. It couldn't raise the capital to truly expand and build the necessary infrastructure to compete with Google's astronomical market dominance, and it was receiving only a slice of the ad revenue, while its majority owners, the cash-hungry record labels, were demanding maximum returns. Just 3 days after the YouTube Music announcement, the inevitable happened. Vevo announced it was shutting down its consumer-facing website and mobile apps to refocus on its links with its distributor, YouTube, as the music network reported. The dream of independence, the multi-million-dollar vision to be the definitive standalone platform, was dismantled. The product and engineering teams, who had spent years trying to build the YouTube killer, were laid off. It was a total, unconditional surrender. The Vevo of today. It simply admitted its place in the ecosystem. It transformed from an ambitious, failed platform into a highly specialized content partner, a valuable tenant in YouTube's digital kingdom. The company entered a new agreement with Google, where YouTube took over the direct sale of ads for Vevo's content. Vevo's video clips, which are premium and guaranteed brand safe, were integrated into YouTube's exclusive Google Preferred tier, which houses the platform's most valuable inventory. This deal, in the end, actually maximized the revenue for both companies. As YouTube Chief Business Officer Robert Kinkle noted, it maximizes revenue for artists and songwriters by leveraging Google's massive existing sales force of over 15,000 sellers. Vevo recognized that having an army of Google sellers pitching their content was more profitable than a small, isolated team trying to sell ads on a perpetually secondary website. The current mission. Today, Vevo operates not as a rival, but as an essential service provider for its parent companies. The content curator. It still acts as the official quality-controlled custodian for the major labels, ensuring the highest quality, official music videos are uploaded with consistent standards and metadata. The content producer. It focuses on high-value original content, like its critically acclaimed DSCVR and Lift Artist Performance Series, which still draw significant traffic and ad revenue, leveraging YouTube's audience to build artist profiles. The physical Vevo website may still exist in some diminished form, and its content appears on various networks like Apple TV and Roku. But its primary, undeniable, and essential home remains the platform it once vowed to replace: YouTube. The definitive lesson. The story of Vevo is the definitive, brutal lesson of the digital age. Content is king, but distribution is God. The major labels had the king as the most popular content in the world, but they could not overcome the digital divine power of Google's distribution network. They wanted to replace YouTube. The streaming war in the music video space wasn't won by a bold new business vision or a superior product. It was won by the platform that was simply too big to fail. And Vevo, the failed YouTube killer, is now a permanent, powerful feature of the landscape it once saw.